the woods for a few minutes without some concern?
Hi there. My name is Bill.
G'day, Billy. Glad to meet your acquaintance, young fellow, my lad. But you folks sure put the wind up my shorts. My name is Charles Farquarson.
Oh, hi there. I'm sorry that we had to interrupt you, but did you realize that you're in a very dangerous area here? It's not restricted or anything, but with all this heavy equipment...
You sure restricted me from what I was trying to do. And if this big sucker had come any closer, he might have damaged my heavy equipment.
Oh, that's a feller buncher.
I don't care what sex she is. I just had to talk to one of you sublime servants about my forest.
Your forest?
That's right. I've heard that all these here forests belongs to all of the peoples of Ontario, and that you folks are supposed to be kindly looking after them first. Or maybe not so kindly. What I want to know is, how's it going?
You got this one, Bill?
Yeah.
You'll need this.
No problem. Yeah, if you're going to hang out with us, you've got to wear one of these.
If I had had one of these, I wouldn't have had to go off into the bushes. All right, now, what's going on with my forest?
Well, that's kind of a big question.
I figured that, and I want to tell you right now, I haven't got too much time for your answers.
Well, that's all the more challenge for me. You see, I'm kind of new at this myself.
Yes, sir?
Oh, I've got the book learning and the degrees and everything, but I'm just started this job as a fit.
A fit? If I took on a job in a fit, the wife and former sweetheart would have me committed.
No, I'm not having a fit. I am a fit. See, a forester in training, and I'm totally committed to this job.
All right, Billy the Fit, whatever you say, but you better start your fitness pitch, because time's a wasted. And we can start with a mess right around here, which don't look too good to me.
Well, it depends on how you look at it. Let's try to imagine what it would be like in the world right now if we didn't use forest products. You know, Charlie, we'd be in bad shape for a lot of things we use every day if we couldn't use any wood. How about your daily newspaper? Made from wood products, you know. And that wooden rocking chair you're sitting on? Don't forget, your house is made of wood, too.
I get your pint. I suppose we needs the wood, all right, but it does seem a darn shame that we couldn't get it without doing all this to the place. When I needs butter, I don't go out and cut me down a whole herd of Holstein cows.
No, but when you need corn, you'll cut down a field of corn quick enough. And harvesting's harvesting after all, Charlie.
Harvesting? You mean like me thrashing about in the fields?
Exactly, harvesting. See, a mature stand of forest to a forester is like a field of corn to a farmer. If you think of a cornfield after it's been cut, looks pretty bare, doesn't it?
Except for the stubble, it does.
But you know that what you've done is make way for a new crop. You'll replant the field, and next year it'll grow up tall and strong and ready for cutting again.
Sure, that's farming.
Well, it's the same for us. It just takes longer. And this clear cut's a good example. It's now ready to become a brand new forest. In 4 years, it'll be 2 or 3 feet high. In 16 years, it'll be 16, 17 feet high. And in 70 or 80 years, it'll be a brand new forest, mature and ready to harvest.
Yes, I see. Isn't that a caution? I think I'm starting to get the picture. Forestry is like farming, and you frosters is the farmers.
It's true, Charlie. We foresters are farmers, in conjunction with the other members of the forest industry. See, Charlie, what a lot of people don't realize is that we work with nature's cycle.
Don't have to tell me about your nature cycles. I lives by them, Billy, year in and year out.
Well, the cycle we're talking about is longer than that. It's a lifespan of 60, 70, 80 years. You know, not that different from yours or mine.
Well, I'll be hog tight. Just 70, like us.
It's true. See, it's this way. Trees, forests, they're living things. They're like people in that way.
You mean they get old, need glasses, their plumbing don't work, and they can't remember their middle initial?
Well, sort of. I was thinking more of the fact that they're born, they grow old, they die, and a new generation comes along.
They grow old and die. Well, I guess they do. I never thought of it that way. I guess I just figured they hung around forever unless we went at them. But I suppose they do go around in cycles, just like us.
Yep, up here in the north, a whole forest might be all the same species. And all the trees will be about the same age, too, because they got their start about the same time.
They did.
Yeah. See, when the forest is young, it's strong, but as it gets older, it weakens. And
You don't have to tell me.
and nature has to find a way to get rid of it, to make way for the new young trees.
Gets rid of it. How does your nature do that?
Well, there's one way.
Dang careless campers.
Oh, campers can be a problem, but not all fires are caused by human carelessness.
You don't say.
Well, take that stand down there. It was old, dry, and ready to harvest, but nature got her first. Lightning. In a mature stand, in a dry season, it's like a match in a pile of oily rags. Here, take a look down there. Really bad. You know, back a few years ago, every able-bodied person for miles around used to get drafted to fight him.
There's people down there fighting now?
As we speak. Want to go see?
Will I get drafted?
Oh, you're a bit too,
Oh, I'll show you. Let's go.
Hey, better get out of here. We're gonna be bringing the water bombers in.
What's
any
gonna
second.
happen?
They're gonna bring the water bomber in any second. Then we're gonna, when we get a chance, we'll come back in. They'll bring the crews down that hill, and then we'll join up the line with the pipe and with the pumper on the other side.
Good.
Right now, let's get out of here.
Where are we going?
This way, buddy. So, Charlie, what do you think of nature's clear cut?
Nature is a lot like the wife's Aunt Minnie from Coldwater at a barbecue. She don't leave much for us.
Oh, she sure don't. Oh, I mean nature. I'm not talking about you and your wife having relations in cold water. No, this is just another nature's methods of harvesting, boy.
Harvesting?
Timmins District, could I have an ETA on that, please?
Come on, Johnny, in this way. Hi, Ned.
Hi, Bill. Welcome back out of the fire.
This is Charlie Farquarson.
Hi, Charlie. It's okay, Charlie. I'm used to shaking dirty hands. Besides offering you a shower, what can I do for you?
Well, we just came in from a fire at Shining Tree. We're in a real rush, but we wanted to come into Fire Center so you could tell Charlie what goes on here.
Well, Charlie, right now we're in a fire flat.
Oh, I'm used to being in a flap whenever I get in our hen house.
Well, what I can do is bring you over to the map board and explain to you what really happens here in a fire flat.
Great.
Okay, right here it shows us where our manpower and helicopters, water bombers are situated.
Looks like a war map.
Each red person here indicates one of our Ministry of Natural Resource fire crews. Each blue person indicates one of our auxiliary crews that are made up of extra people within the ministry and also outside of the ministry. Our helicopters here, as indicated, are committed to this fire, as well as water bombers.
Oh, I think I just wiped out a fire here.
Oh, it's not that easy to wipe out a fire.
Tell Charlie how the lightning detector works.
Okay, the lightning detector, forest fires destroy more forests than man cuts, and one of the problems is lightning. We have a locating lightning detector that indicates where our lightning is striking, how many strikes we are receiving, and what the intensity of the strike is.
And every time there's lightning, it shows up on the screen,
Every
right?
strike shows up on the screen.
Same time as the lightning hits? You
Yep.
see it on here?
Yep.
The same minute that lightning strikes?
You got the same second.
And we've had as many as 10,000 strikes on that screen within a period of 8 to 10 hours.
Charlie, did you know that bugs contribute to forest fires as well?
Must be firebugs, are they?
No, Charlie, no. Spruce budworm's a good example of what I mean. They'll infect an area, and before you know it, there's a dry stand, like you see there.
Ooh. Well, there must be a bunch of them bugworms in there.
Yeah, there sure is. And before you can say Bob's your uncle, they've stripped the branches bare.
Bob's not my uncle, you know. There's them spray planes, got everyone's britches in uproar.
Well, there was a time that uproar might have been justified. We used to have to deal with some pretty harsh chemicals. But now we know better. We use biological sprays. They don't hurt the birds or anything else. Well, except those spruce budworms, of course. Now, you see, this area wasn't scheduled to be cut for a while, but we found out it was infested with bugs, so we moved the schedule ahead, and we harvested it before the bugs had a chance to. Oh, look, there's Mary Ellen.
Hi, Bill. I heard you were out here.
Hi, Mary Ellen. This is Charlie Farquarson.
What you do?
Hi, Charlie. How's it going?
Oh, fair to middling. This young fella's helped me quite a bit for a green hornet.
Well, Mary Ellen's with the ministry, and she's a biologist. She can help explain some of the stuff I've been talking about.
You mean you can explain to me all this mess?
Well, it looks a little raw now, but we do all we can to be careful. Here, let me show you. Come on. Here's the way we reduce the damage to the landscape. Special tires, low impact.
Yeah, they hardly press the soil down at all. In fact, it could run over my compass here and hardly do any damage. It's that gentle.
Get out.
Why not show him?
Me?
No, not you, just your compass.
All right, all right.
Everybody knows about your graduation compass.
Here, the compass my grandfather gave me when I graduated. But I'll put it under there because I figure this thing either works or it doesn't. Okay, bring your hat.
Is it okay?
I'm convinced. I hate to seem thick, but didn't you tell me that you use them big tires for to save wear and tear on the ground?
That's right.
Then what in the heck is that thing doing?
Oh, that's a scarifier.
A scarifier? My God, that monster looks like a terrifier. What does that whole ring-ding-do-do?
Oh, well, see, no. Where we were before, the ground was really soft, and those big tires were to protect it because you want to plant right in it. But here, if you plant it in this duff, nothing to grow. So they got to turn it over so they can get some decent soil. But I'll tell you what, we'll go ask Ted. He'll explain it to you. Come on. Ted, could you explain to Charlie here what that scarifier's doing up there?
Well, Charlie, what do you do when you harvest a crop?
Well, plows her, and then maybe runs the harrows over. You know, first you have your plow, and then you have your harrowing days. That's what I do when I want to plant another crop in the same field.
Well, we do exactly the same thing. You call it plowing, we call it site preparation.
Well, I don't know nothing about site reparations. When the time is ripe, I plant that crap in the ground, maybe a few rows of spuds.
Well, we do the same thing as you. Site preparation allows a spot for the tree to grow. There's some tree planters over there. Why don't you go talk to them?
Thanks, Ted.
Hi, I know you. You're Charlie Farquarson.
I don't mind you at all. Are you from Powry Hoot?
No, I'm not.
Charlie, this is Jennifer. Jennifer, Charlie wants to know how well we're looking after his forests.
His force.
That's right. I'm an Ontario taxpayer.
Well, I guess you're right. They are your force.
Tell them how you plant the trees here.
We either use shovels or potted putkeys.
What?
A potted putkey. The red tubes that they put the container stocks down.
I wish I'd had a porta potty when I met you the first thing this morning.
No, pot of putki.
How many trees did you plant in a year?
Well, our company plants about 3.5 million trees a year.
You work for a company,
I work for a private forestry company.
and he works for the government.
That's right, and together we plant the forest.
And you're both working for me.
And the forest. Fact is, Charlie, there are a lot of people out here working for you and the forest. Take the nurseries where they grow the millions of trees needed for planting every year. Lots of them are owned by local, independent business people. They're an important part of the forest industry, Charlie, and they're part of the reason we can now plant more trees than we cut. Charlie, one thing we try to do is make sure that the seeds or the seedlings that are going to be planted in any given clear cut are from that area and from that forest. That way the conditions will be best for that seed or seedling's growth.
Them seeds?
Those are seeds right there.
My God, if the wife seen that, she'd grab for the mouse talks.
Well, there's a possible 24,000 trees in that little bag alone.
You mean there's a forest in there?
There's a whole forest in there. Each one of those seeds could grow into one of these trees.
Did you plant that big sucker?
No, but I supervise the planting of lots like her.
Well, I keep reading in the papers time after time about miles and miles of forest being cut down in other countries of the world, like your Brazil. And the soil turns into your hard pan worse than your concrete. And what about the trees being cut down that causes floods, like in the bang your desk?
Well, that's part of our job, is to make sure that nothing like that ever happens here. You see, for example, take this stand. Each one of these black spruce would live, say, 80 or 90 years. So what we do is we make sure that only 1/100th of this stand of forest is cut each year. And that way, after 100 years, the entire stand has been regenerated, the soil has been protected, and the forest is as healthy as it can possibly be.
And you've only cut 1%, and you've kept the other 99.
That's the average.
Yeah, but will the forest companies do what you tell them?
Well, that's part of our job, too, is to make sure that everybody involved in the forestry agreement keeps their end of the bargain. After all, the forestry industry doesn't want to run out of trees any more than we do.
Any more than I do.
That's right.
Well, makes sense to me.
Sure it does. Come on.
Trouble is, you fellas plant them baby trees, but they won't be grown-ups for a long, long time.
Well, that's true. But we're working on that now.
What do you mean, Billy?
Well, we have researchers working very hard to help plantations grow more successfully and faster. We have scientists, for example, that over the past 10 years have just about doubled the success rate of new plantings.
Doubled her, you say?
Yep, and their aim is to halve the time it takes to grow new trees. Make them grow twice as fast.
No.
Oh, yeah. Forestry's a team effort, Charlie. There are biologists, land use planners, map makers, computer programmers, all sorts of people working together on everything we do. And there are even people doing the real far-out stuff, working with genes, just like cancer researchers.
The work that we're doing in this lab is part of a nationwide and even a worldwide effort to try and understand better the biology of forest trees, much in the same way that cancer researchers or AIDS researchers look at those diseases and those organisms. They look at genes and proteins. We're doing this in a series of laboratory and field-related experiments by which we try and measure and identify the variability in genetic traits such as drought resistance, cold hardiness, wood properties, fiber length, specific gravity, the kinds of things that will allow us to breed trees that will grow faster and produce more fiber in our per hectare in our Ontario forests.
That's exactly what I was trying to tell you. We're working hard to make sure that Ontario never runs out of trees.
Well, our dog will be relieved to hear that.
It's fascinating, Charlie. The forestry techniques that are developed and used are dictated by the individual forest type, with soil, species, and climate all playing a part. The logging practices in the south, for example, are totally different from those here in the north.
Whoa! Hold her, Newt. She's heading for the barn. You mean to say there's logging in southern Ontario?
Oh, Charlie, sure, there's logging all over the southern woods.
You're pulling my leg.
No, I'm not. Both my hands are on the steering wheel. No, I mean, they don't clear cut when they're dealing with things like beeches, ash, walnut, black cherry.
No, but you mean that's all logged in southern Ontario?
Oh, yeah, that, maple, and lots more. Logging's big business in southern Ontario, Charlie. Niagara, down in the southwest, all across the province. There are those nice big stands of trees that set off the fields and make them look so pretty. Well, you know, Charlie, those are woodlots. They're part of a farmer's crop. Mind you, methods of logging are different in the south. Instead of clear cutting, they selective cut. Our ministry guys check out each tree, select the ones that are mature and ready to be harvested.
They select them, eh? Well, but that's why they call it selective cutting.
Charlie, you're just about ready to be a logger yourself.
Why not? Just like farming.
You got it. It's just as well to cut the ones that are ready. Leave them there much longer and they'll die anyway. Now the loggers, they're often from private companies, then gather the logs that have been cut and pay the landowner for the wood. You know, there's millions of dollars worth of wood being cut off those southern Ontario farmlands every year. It's this periodic thinning that keeps them healthy. No one objects to that, even when it's in their own backyard. Just last week, I met a farmer who put his kids through university this way. He figures there'll be lots of trees there to take care of his grandchildren, too, and their grandchildren.
Hi, Ab.
Hi, how are you?
Guess you're looking for this check, eh?
Thanks very much. It'll come in handy.
Fact is, it's all part of forest management.
For a froster in training, you talk a pretty good line of goods. But the fact is, this kind of logging ain't too tidy.
No, not in this small an area, no. But there's room for everybody. Let me show you some of the things that are going on in the woods around here, Charlie.
Billy boys are gonna take long. I'm in a hurry.
No. Not long at all. We'll fly.
Again? Wait till I tell the wife and former sweetheart about today. She's never seen me higher than the hay mow.
Charlie, looky there. You see, a lot of care is taken to ensure that when harvesting is done, the recreation, wildlife, and water quality aspects of the area are protected. We do this with buffer zones. That's those bands of trees left standing around the rivers and lakes. They provide cover for the likes of moose and deer. Fact is, a well-planned harvest can actually increase the wildlife populations. Of course, the buffer zones also make it a little nicer for people canoeing along the river or camping on the lakes. See there, another buffer zone.
Well, that's awful thoughtful of you folks.
No, that's just modern forestry. It's part of making sure that everybody gets to enjoy the forest. You watch now as we go out over the water. You see, those trees are protecting the shoreline from erosion. Kinda helps the view from the lake, too.
Swinger, you can't even see the logging from here.
You see those guys catching fish there?
Of course I do. You think I'm blind?
Sorry, of course you see them. Well, I don't want to keep blowing our horn, Charlie, but one of the things we do is make sure there's fish in the lakes by watching over the streams back up in the forests. You know, the spawning beds.
Seems to be working.
Well, you see, in the old days, they used to build logging roads pretty much wherever they wanted to. If a road crossed a stream, it might leave it in a pretty bad mess, all silted up, you know. They used to log right up to the edges of lakes and rivers, too. Ruined a lot of spawning beds. Raised Cain with generations of fish back then. But now, Charlie, let me tell you, it's a different world. They build good culverts now and bridges. They stay right away from the water when they can. And, well, you can see the result right there. Look at that fish. See, we believe these woods belong to everybody to enjoy as they see fit. Whether it's a young couple in a canoe or a moose in the water.
Hey, look at that big fella. Ain't he a beaut?
Nobody loves the outdoors more than a forester does. But it's not just a matter of what we think. It's government policy. Anyone working in the forests of this province has got to leave room for the wildlife, including moose and deer and even squirrels and woodpeckers.
And a good thing, too, because they was here first.
The way we see it, looking after the forest means looking after it for everyone. Not just loggers, but cottagers, canoeists, animals, and for you, Charlie. We look after the forests for everybody.
Well, you better, because they're our forests, you know.
You got that right, Charlie. And we're here to look after them for all of the animals and all of the people. I don't want to get all mushy on you now, Charlie, but I'm telling you, the reason I got into forestry is because I love the forest. See, Charlie, nothing makes me happier than if I can manage the forest so that everybody's happy. Hunters, hikers, loggers, canoeists like us, everybody. And if I do my job well, we're all happy. Beautiful, isn't it, Charlie?
Yeah.
Hard to believe there's a clear cut about 400 meters that way.
You're putting me on.
No, I'm not. Hey, here comes some white water. Better zip up. Charlie, where are you off to in such a hurry? You've been rushing all day. I mean, did I tell you everything you need to know?
Yeah. I figure I got enough to go on now. You and all them other people.
Well, see,
I want to thank you for all the statistics.
Yeah, but at university, see, we're taught to give all the information that you need, and there's a whole lot of stuff about a very complex industry.
I got enough to go on now, and I want to thank you for all your cooperation.
Well, where are you off to anyway?
Here. You want to know why I'm gathering all this information?
Yeah.
Well, there's a town meeting tonight of concerned citizens about this forestry business. Not just us locals, but the regular strangers been coming up to their cottages for years and years, decades. And we're all going in there and have it out. And I'm going to have to tell them people that there's a dang sight more to this forestry business than most of us realized.
Well, that's good, Charlie.
It's not so simple-minded as I thought.
Preach it, brother.
There's a lot of people out there who's looking after our forest, and they're doing not too bad a job. And that includes you, Billy.
Well, thank you,
I
Charles.
think you're going to make a froster someday. So you mind my forests, you hear?
It'll be a pleasure, Charlie.